Next on the agenda, we have Dr. Eddie Campbell, and he's going to allow you to have a little cookie break and coffee, but let me just say a little bit about Eddie. He's superintendent of Monongalia County Schools here in Morgantown, a brand new one that everybody is thrilled about and can't say enough good about. He's been in Tucker County as superintendent, also Virginia, Alaska, Shanghai. And at this time, he's going to direct us towards our activities. We do have superintendents on tap to meet with Dr. Dindersmith, but we also have educators here that we really want an opportunity to get with our legislators.
Thank you, Donna. I know this morning Donna said that as we moved through the sessions today, it would get more and more important. Our speakers would. I'm going to kind of think that we're going to divulge from that a little bit because I really get the pleasure of being the host superintendent of introducing probably the most important people in this room, and I hope nobody takes offense with that. I think a lot of us would agree with that. There's a sheet of paper in your programs. It's titled "Showcasing West Virginia Educators," and one of the purposes of this forum was to introduce our legislators to educators, to give them the opportunity to really pick their brain before they go off to Charleston to make great decisions about our educational system. And so before you go to your cookie and coffee break, I want you to know who these people are. So if they're here, and I haven't had a chance to get around and see all of them, but if they are here, I just want them to stand and wave so that our legislators and our higher education folks can see who they are, and we'll have an opportunity to kind of grab them during the cookie and the coffee break and talk to them a little bit. And when we come back, I'm going to have some of my folks. I'm going to take the liberty of sharing some of the great things that are going on here in Monongalia County that I think, as we've heard about today, we're doing a lot of these things. We think we're out in front of the curve, and I think you'll think the same as well. But let me introduce these folks, and again, I'll have them just stand up so that you'll know who they are, so that you can grab them. We have from Doddridge County, the superintendent is here, Mr. Adam Cheeseman. There he is. Also, superintendent from Mineral County Schools, Mr. Sean Dilley is here. And superintendent from Jefferson County Schools, Dr. Bondi Shea Gibson. She's in the back there, folks. All right, we have from Harrison County Schools, assistant superintendent, Dr. Donna Haig. Joyce Hobbs is here from Berkeley County Schools, and she is the secondary instructional specialist. Joyce is over here. I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce the superintendent from Harrison County Schools, Dr. Mark Manchin. Dr. Kimberly Miller, the superintendent from Ohio County Schools, is here. She's over here in this corner. Mr. Gary Price, superintendent from Marion County Schools, is here. He's up front. We have with us from Pocahontas County Schools, Mr. Bob Sheets. Is he here? Yes, there he is. Also from Pocahontas County, we have Elaine Sheets. From Upshur County Schools, we have Assistant Superintendent Deborah Harrison. She's in the back. And from Preston County Schools, Superintendent Mr. Stephen Watring. And I'm a big fan of rock and roll. And I like to call our staff the rock stars. We refer to them as our rock stars. And so I guess if I'm Mick Jagger, then I'll introduce you to the Rolling Stones now. So we have with us Sandy Brown, who is the principal of South Middle School here. We have Suzanne Ernstis, and she's a social studies teacher at University High School. Suzanne's over here. We have Dennis Gallen. He's a principal of Cheat Lake Elementary. There's Dennis. Our principal at Morgantown High School, Paul Mahalko. We have with us a counselor from Mountain View Elementary, Mr. Mike Ryan. Mike's back there. All right. And I also have with me Nathan Thornburg, a social studies teacher at Mountaineer Middle School. There's Nathan. My associate superintendent, Sandy DeVault. And I'm going to introduce her, but I'm going to introduce her again a little bit later. If I'm Mick Jagger, she's Keith Richards. My deputy superintendent, Donna Talerico. Donna's going to speak with you when we come back from our cookies and coffee. Again, grab these folks. They're here. They have come from far and wide. Even the ones from here in Morgantown have given up their time and their day to be here, to be a resource for you. So please chat with them, ask them questions. They're on the front line, folks, and I know you know that. I'm not saying anything that you don't know. They're in the classrooms. They're running our buildings. They're running our school systems every day. They can tell you what we need to make our schools better. So I implore you to pick your brain while you're having those cookies and those coffee, and we'll be back in a few minutes to share some great things going on here in Monongalia County. So enjoy. 15 minutes, Donna says. I think somebody said earlier this morning the biggest fallacy at these conferences is the 15-minute break. So. And I get that. We sit around, we listen to a lot of good stuff, and when we get a break, we want to talk each other's ears off about the good things we've heard, which really leads me into what we're going to talk about. And we're not going to take an hour. We're not going to take 30 minutes. We're probably going to take about 8 to 12 minutes just to share with you some of the really important things that we are doing here in Monongalia County Schools to address some of the things that we've been talking about last night and through this morning into this afternoon. So I'm going to let the video speak for itself, and I guess I'll give you a warning. I tend to think of myself as a pretty even-keeled guy, and I watched this video for the first time with my staff about a week ago. And I was glad the room was dark when we finished the video, because I had tears streaming down my cheeks when it was finished. It made that big of an impact on me. And I guess to lay a precursor for this, right during the Thanksgiving break, I had the opportunity to watch the film Paper Tigers. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with that. I can't tell you off the top of my head who produced it and who made it. But it's really a movie about, it's a documentary about addressing the needs of very challenging students. And it made a big impact on me. And I went back to my staff and I said, we need to share this with our principals. We need to share this with our teachers. It can make a difference. And lo and behold, they didn't really mention to me anything about what you're going to see here. And the very next week, they shared with me this video that was made for us by the Department of Education, right? Yes, the Department of Education made this for us about a program that we're collaborating with them. But and what it said to me was that we're way out in front. We're doing the things that I thought were impactful in this nationally made video. We're doing it right here in Morgantown, in Monongalia County. So with that said, I hope it means as much to you as it did to me when I saw it. What I wanted to do following the conclusion of that was number one, to say I don't take responsibility for this program or any of the programs that we wanted to introduce to you today. I kind of made a joke out of the Rolling Stones and Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, but if you look historically at the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger might have been the lead singer for the group, but they say the brains behind the organization was Keith Richards. He wrote all the music, he wrote all the words to the songs, and it was his vision that made the Rolling Stones who they ultimately became. With that, I want to reintroduce you to our Deputy Superintendent, who this has been her vision in Monongalia County Schools, to put together a world-class student support system for our schools. And she's going to talk to you just briefly about this program and about what we do pre-K through 12 in the various support programs that we have. I have put some brochures out there next to Dr. Dinnersmith's book. Grab one of those and look at it. If you have questions, please contact us in Monongalia County Schools. But with that said, I'm going to turn things over to Deputy Superintendent Donna Talerico.
I've been called a lot of things, never Keith Richards, but hey, that's an honor, and I did bring my own playlist, thank goodness, here, so that's value. Thanks so much for bearing with us there. It is worth seeing. I appreciate it. I appreciate just a few minutes of the time of the folks that are in this room, because you are the influential decision makers, and we think we have something to offer here. The LEA Collaborative is the latest iteration of what we're trying to do to create paths of personalized learning for students. I've heard this in the conversations here today. There are so many needs of so many children across the continuum. We believe in Monongalia County that we do strive to meet all of those areas across that continuum. But there is a huge need, and so those of you in the room who make decisions, have access to funding, this is an area where we are still struggling. So we do have our playlist, and I love the innovation playlist handout that is part of today's packet. And I feel like our little brochure is our playlist of what we're able to offer. And I say this to you clearly, it begins with pre-K. The needs of students that are struggling begin in pre-K. They do not begin at the high school level. So we have programs, and of course in education we have a lot of acronyms, so we call that pre-K program PIECES. We have an elementary program called Guides. Our middle high school program is called the Excel program, and then this additional program that we've brought forward here is an 8th grade program and a high school program. All of which have combined to do what we think is in the better interest of our students. I want to say to you that the mental health issues of students are real. The needs of families and children experiencing trauma, and I know that word is being overused right now, but I am saying to you that our teachers struggle with that every day. We have excellent teachers. They know their content. They are prepared. They are not prepared to deal with some of the difficulties that come through our doors each and every day. This is where support, whether it be through the psychologists, the nurses, the counselors, the social workers that we used this beginning year, blending some funding from federal and local monies to give additional connections to families and our schools. This is who we're about. This says it better than I can, and I know your time is valuable, so I certainly don't want to impose any more on that. I want to be able to respect your schedule for today, but we are happy. We hope you pick up one of these. It tells you what we are doing in Monongalia County. I know it can be done everywhere. It does take resources, and it does certainly take a vision to do that. I implore you as the visionaries to help support this and see if we can't make it possible for every student in West Virginia to access a quality education. Thank you for your time.